Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Charmaine Gittleson, the non-executive chair of the board of Percheron. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome all shareholders and guests to the general meeting of Percheron Therapeutics, and note that this meeting is conducted in person only at the offices of Minter Ellison in Sydney. I also note that the three requisitioning directors, Dr. Julian Chick, Richard Hammersley, and Daron Elder, are not present at the meeting today. Neither is any other representative of PVL, Powerhouse Ventures Limited. As you know, this is the second such meeting the company has been requested to hold in recent months, and as before, I don't intend to offer much commentary on the circumstances that brought us here. I'll merely acknowledge that once again, the past several months have been an extraordinarily challenging time for Percheron shareholders. Both the board and the requisitioning shareholders have made their respective points in advance of this meeting, and as I said, I'm not going to recapitulate them. However, I think it's important to stress that this meeting and this requisition once again asks shareholders what kind of business they want Percheron to be and who they would prefer to lead it. Whatever the outcome of today's meeting may be, I very much hope that all shareholders are able to accept it as definitive. Aside from the direct financial cost associated with this process, the distraction and the loss of confidence that these battles engender are very pernicious. For the good of the company and for the good of every shareholder, we need to resolve these matters, put these conflicts behind us, and focus as a company on the vital task of restoring value for shareholders. As I open the meeting, which has been called by one of the company shareholders, Powerhouse Ventures Limited, pursuant to S203D and S249D of the Corporations Act, I will note that PVL representatives have just joined us. Welcome. I note that a quorum of shareholders is present as required by the company's constitution, so I declare the general meeting of Percheron Therapeutics Limited open. I intend to vote all undirected proxies appointing me as a proxy against all resolutions, and all shareholders will be given the opportunity to vote and to ask questions at the meeting today. We encourage shareholders to reserve questions specifically pertaining to the resolutions for the formal part of the meeting. And I'll now go through the voting instructions. The voting here in the room, which is the only place that we're now able to take votes. You will have received a voting card at the registration desk. Persons entitled to vote at this meeting are all shareholders, corporate representatives, attorneys of members, and proxy holders who hold a green and/or blue voting card. The green card is unpopulated and allows you to vote at your absolute discretion. As with the blue proxy form, which you will have received in the mail, the blue card has been provided out of the director's personal funds and has been pre-populated for your convenience in accordance with the director's recommendations. If you wish to vote in support of the directors, we encourage you to do so via the blue card. When using the blue card, you only need to sign the card and you do not need to do anything further. You may complete either card. Detailed on the reverse of your voting card are the resolutions being put to shareholders at this meeting. Please ensure that you print your name where indicated and sign the voting card. Please note any unsigned voting cards will be invalid. If you require any assistance, please raise your hand and we will call the representative from Boardroom in to assist you. When you have finished filling your voting card, Boardroom will collect them at the end of the discussion of all resolutions when I announce that the poll has closed. Please note that only shareholders holding either a green or blue voting card or a white non-voting card are entitled to ask questions within the room. Your questions may be moderated, reworded, or if we receive multiple questions on one topic, amalgamated together. Finally, Due to the constraints, we may run out of time to answer all your questions. If this happens, we will endeavour to answer them in due course after the meeting. For those shareholders in the room, you will have the ability to change your vote up until the time I declare the meeting closed, voting closed. Voting today will be conducted by way of a poll on all items of business. I now declare voting open on all items of business. I propose to take notice of the notice of meeting of the general meeting of Percheron Therapeutics Limited dated 14th March 2025 as read, and I will now proceed with the items of business. Limited copies of the notice of meeting are available if anyone wishes to have a copy. Part 1. The formal part of the business meeting. So slide 3 and the resolutions for voting. Right, now moving to the resolutions to be voted on. There are 6 resolutions in total to consider, and we will consider and vote on each resolution in turn. As already noted, I have determined that each resolution will be decided by a poll. I appoint Mr. Rushard Bushano of Boardroom Limited as the returning officer to conduct the poll and report the results of the poll to me, and he's just outside. I notice that all resolutions in the notice of meeting are to be considered as an ordinary resolution, and as such must be approved by a simple majority of the votes cast by shareholders entitled to vote and voting on the resolution. So for the first resolution, removal of Dr. Charmaine Gittleson as a director, as this resolution concerns myself, I will recuse myself as chair, and I will ask Percheron Therapeutics Company Secretary Deborah Ambrosini to present the resolution.
Thanks, Charmaine. As you mentioned, Resolution 1, removal of Dr. Charmaine Gittleson as a director. That pursuant to Section 203D1 of the Corporations Act, Dr. Charmaine Gittleson be removed as a director of the company, effective immediately on passing of this resolution. The proxies shown on the screen are as at Tuesday, the 22nd of April, 2025 at 4 p.m. Are there any questions on this resolution? No? We'll move on to the next one.
Thanks, Deborah. The next one, Resolution 2, removal of Dr. James Garner as a director. To consider and if thought fit to pass the following resolution as an ordinary resolution, that pursuant to Section 203D1 of the Corporations Act 2001, Dr. James Garner be removed as a director of the company effective immediately on the passing of this resolution. As shown on the screen, the percentage for is 26.52% and the percentage against 73.48%. Nobody abstaining. Are there any questions on this resolution? Resolution 3, removal of Dr. Ben Gill-Price as a director. To consider and if thought fit to pass the following resolution as an ordinary resolution, that pursuant to Section 203D1 of the Corporations Act 2001, that Dr. Ben Gill-Price be removed as a director of the company and effective immediately on the passing of this resolution. Any questions? And proxies received as at 4 p.m. Tuesday, 22nd of April 2025 are shown on the screen, with 28.44% voted against and 28.44% voted for and 71.56% voted against. Resolution 4, appointment of Mr. Deron Elder. To consider and if thought fit to pass the following resolution as an ordinary resolution, that Mr. Deron Elder, having consented to act as a director of the company, be appointed as a director of the company effective immediately on the passing of this resolution. Any questions? Proxies received as at 4 p.m. Tuesday, 22nd of April 2025 are shown on the screen. 27.5% for, with 72.5% against. Resolution 5, appointment of Mr. Julian Chick. To consider and if thought fit to pass the following resolution as an ordinary resolution, that Mr. Julian Chick, having consented to act as a director of the company, be appointed as a director of the company effective immediately on the passing of this resolution. Any questions? Proxies received as at 4 p.m. Tuesday, 22nd of April 2025 are shown on the screen with 27.5% for and 72.5% against. Appointment of Mr. Richard Hammersley to consider and if thought fit to pass the following resolution as an ordinary resolution. That Mr. Richard Hammersley, having consented to act as a director of the company, be appointed as a director of the company, effective immediately on the passing of this resolution. Any questions? Proxies received as at 4 p.m. Tuesday, 22nd of April 2025 are shown on the screen. 27.5% for, 72.5% against. And that concludes our discussion on all items of business. In a couple of minutes, I will close the voting for the general meeting. And if you're voting today, please ensure you cast all votes on the resolutions. And while you finalize your votes, I'm pleased to address any other questions from the floor. Thank you. Voting is now closed. All voting cards in the room have been collected. The results of these votes will be released to the stock exchange after voting is finalised and audited by our share registry boardroom, Pty Limited, and those results will be released later today. And thank you for your attendance. Thank you for coming to this general meeting. And I now declare the meeting closed.